This is the Gospel Briefing. I'm Charles King. Today, a Deputy U.S. Marshal is killed serving a warrant in Louisiana. A fragile peace deal with Iran collapses in the Strait of Hormuz. And the death of a longtime senator sets off a scramble in South Carolina. Headlines, heartbeat, hope. Let's get into it. Around 3 in the afternoon on Monday in Alexandria, Louisiana, a Deputy U.S. Marshal was shot and killed. He was part of a task force, sheriff's detectives from Rapides Parish, members of the U.S. Marshal's Violent Offender Task Force. They were on Rutland Road trying to arrest a wanted fugitive. An officer-involved shooting occurred. The deputy did not survive. The suspect is in custody. The FBI is now leading the investigation into the deputy's murder. Tom Chittum, a former ATF official, told ABC News that fugitive operations are some of the most dangerous work in law enforcement. Because you're pursuing people who know they're wanted, who are on alert, who have already decided they will not be taken without a fight. Let that sit for a moment. There's a temptation, when a story like this crosses the wire, to reduce it to a statistic. One more line of duty death. But somewhere in Louisiana tonight there is a family that will never sit at the same table again the same way. Romans 13 calls the civil authority a servant of God, bearing the sword for the good of the people. Scripture takes law enforcement seriously, not because officers are perfect, but because the restraint of evil is a real thing God cares about. And when a servant like that falls in the line of duty, the Christian response is not a hot take, it's prayer. For his family, for his colleagues who will strap on the vest again tomorrow, and honestly, for the man now in custody who still has a soul that needs Christ. 26 days. That's how long the preliminary peace deal with Iran lasted, signed at the Palace of Versailles with great fanfare, unraveled Monday afternoon. President Trump announced the United States will reimpose a naval blockade on Iranian ports, and he added something new. A fee, 20% of the cargo value, on commercial ships crossing the Strait of Hormuz. In exchange, he says, for safe passage. We guarded the strait for 50 years and never got paid for it, the president said on Fox News. We want to be reimbursed. The blockade takes effect Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Reaction was swift. The International Maritime Organization, the United Nations body that regulates shipping, said there is no legal basis for mandatory tolls on international straits. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said publicly he opposes it, and Iran's Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, responded with pure sarcasm, saying Iran will charge a more reasonable rate because 20% is too much. The war has already cost the United States dearly. In late June, the White House requested more than $67 billion in emergency defense funding. Christians are going to disagree about this one. Some will see hard-nosed leverage. Others will see a dangerous precedent. That's a legitimate debate. But here's what Scripture does make clear. Proverbs 21, verse 1. The king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. Every president, every ayatollah, every foreign minister, they all sit under a sovereignty higher than their own. That's not a reason to stop paying attention. It's the reason we can pay attention without panic. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina died suddenly late Saturday night. Whatever your politics, he was one of the most consequential foreign policy voices in the Senate for 3 decades. And his death has set off a scramble in South Carolina over who will finish his term. According to Fox News reporting on the developments, his sister will complete the remainder of his term. Beyond that, South Carolina's governor will face pressure from every wing of the Republican Party over the permanent replacement. But before we talk about politics, let's talk about mortality. Lindsey Graham was 70 years old. On Friday, he was working. By Sunday morning, his colleagues were writing statements. Psalm 90 says, "Teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom." Senators are not exempt from that verse. Neither are you, neither am I. The scramble over his seat will play out. The obituaries will get written, but somewhere between the headlines and the hot takes, there's an invitation for every one of us to ask whether we are living like people who know our days are numbered. Now to some quick briefs. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will host delegations from more than 70 countries in Washington on Thursday for a meeting focused on what the administration calls transnational far-left terrorism. Critics, including analysts at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, argue that jihadist and right-wing violence remain equal or greater threats and warn against a one-lane focus. Romans 12 tells us to abhor what is evil, all of it, not selectively. In Maine, a man shot and killed by ICE agents was not the intended target of the warrant, according to officials and lawmakers. Senator Angus King has called for a fully transparent investigation. When the innocent are harmed by mistake, Scripture does not ask us to look away. Proverbs says a false balance is an abomination to the Lord. Truth-telling, even when it's uncomfortable for the powerful, is a Christian duty. Overseas, a fire tore through a Bangkok bar over the weekend, killing dozens. Authorities say some of the exits were blocked or inaccessible. Pray for those families. Life is fragile in ways we rarely admit until a story like this reminds us. And one more. Christianity Today reports that Gloo, the faith-based tech company founded in 2013 to help churches use technology to spread the gospel, is approaching a critical juncture. More than $400 million in losses over 13 years. Leaders are hoping a stock sale will finally make the company sustainable. It's a reminder that ministry-adjacent business is still business. 1 Timothy 6 warns about the love of money, not money itself, but the love of it. Even good missions can drift when the balance sheet starts driving the theology. You're reading Romans 9. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What does that even mean? Most apps just say pray about it. Open Bible Copilot and it walks you through it the way seminaries teach. The original Hebrew, the historical context, the theology, and how to apply it in seconds. Trusted AI for Bible study, not generic AI, with insight from voices like Augustine, Spurgeon, and N.T. Wright. 5 stars in the App Store. Get your first month of Pro free at mybiblecopilot.com/gospel. That's mybiblecopilot.com/gospel. Bible Copilot. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. A deputy killed serving a warrant. A peace deal in tatters. A senator gone in a weekend. Nations posturing over a strait halfway around the world. Be still. He is still God. And he will still be exalted among these nations in this earth on his timeline. Thanks for listening to the Gospel Briefing. If today's episode helped you think a little more clearly, share it with one friend who could use the same. I'll see you tomorrow.